welcome back. So today we are going to be putting all the parts of the wholesaling series that we did on TikTok, which is basically turning $15 into $10,000. It was a great success on TikTok. I'm just going to be combining all the parts, but as well as combining the parts, I'm going to be pausing and answering some of the questions that I've gotten throughout those parts. That way you guys have the full video as well as an explanation of every single part. And I think it went well. It was a great series. It was a great process. It's literally from start to finish, getting the property under contract, talking to the homeowner, talking to the buyers. Everything you need to do to wholesale real estate was all in this video. So watch it. Let's start with part one. Do you want to make $10,000 wholesaling real estate? Sounds like an infomercial, but we're going to do it with $15. We're going to use $10 to get a list, and we're going to use $5 for marketing. And I'm going to do it with you guys. This is going to be actually really, really fun. Our first step is going to be going to Fiverr, fiverr.com. I have it linked in my bio. It gives you, I think, like 10% off if you use that link. If you don't want to use it, you can go on Google and search up Fiverr. Once we're on Fiverr, we're going to search for motivated seller leads, right? And then I'll show you guys exactly the one that I picked. I picked it because it had a lot of reviews, and it only costs $10. I believe there's a $2 service fee. If you use that 10%, then it subtracts that $2. If you don't, then your total cost is going to be $12 instead of $10. Once we have that list, probably by tomorrow, then we can start marketing it, and we're going to do that with $5. So the first part was rather simple. We just explained what we're going to be doing. $10 to actually pull the list, and then $5 for marketing, and I'll explain that as we go along the video. But I really just talked about the Fiverr app, which is honestly a great app if you're trying to hire someone to do some work for you. Video editing, cold calling, skip tracing, anything you would need and want it done at a cheaper price, Fiverr is your go-to. Let's do part two. Welcome back to part two of turning $15 into $10,000 wholesaling real estate. So yesterday we ended up buying a list off of Fiverr. I ended up going with the vacant list. Any of the options that the freelancer had, tax delinquent, liens, absentee owner, they're all really good leads. I ended up going with vacant because I think they're the easiest to work with. They're the most motivated only because the house is basically doing nothing but draining them of their money. So I ended up going with that list. I picked a specific area in town that I can be able to drive to. You can do it virtually as well. You're just going to have someone go there to take pictures of the property. So let me go over the questions I got for part two. One of the big questions was, what do I need to start? Do I need a license? Yes and no. You do not need a license to wholesale real estate, except if you are in these 3 states. So again, laws are changing every day. Please Google search and double check your laws and regulations. But as far as I'm aware right now, the city of Philadelphia, you can't wholesale without a real estate license. Any other part of Pennsylvania, you can. The state of Illinois, you cannot wholesale real estate. You have to double close, which means you have to physically actually buy the property. And then Oklahoma, which I recently just heard about, also is putting some regulations on wholesaling. But that was one of the big questions I got for wholesaling. The second part was these Fiverr agents. How do they know what to pick? You're telling them. You have to tell them the state, the town. If you want a specific area, you have to let them know what area you're doing. They're not just going to give you a random list. So another thing that I wanted to add about this part two, about the Fiverr agents, is usually they're getting a list from PropStream or Batch Leads, right? They're getting your criteria, they're pulling a list off of those softwares. But if you can afford it, you don't need to go through a third party. You can go on PropStream yourself, download the software, pay the $99 a month, pull your own lists and your own filters and your own criterias. And you know what? How about this? Why don't you check out the free trials linked in the description? Batch Leads is offering you 500 free records. PropStream gives you a 7-day free trial. It's worth a try for you to check it out yourself. But if you can't afford the monthly payment of $99 a month, use the free trial or use a Fiverr agent where they can give you a list for $10. So for part 3, we're going to be talking about text blasting, sending those text messages. Now, originally when this video was up, you actually saw how to use the Reach app, but YouTube took that video down because it broke community guidelines. Now, I'm re-uploading this video, but instead of showing you how to use the Reach app, I'm going to tell you that it is linked in the description. It's in the free wholesaling course that I give you guys. Literally, the course that has everything that you need to know about wholesaling real estate is linked below, and the slide is there for the Reach app. So how to use it, the entire tutorial, the video is uploaded in that slide presentation.
Now, I also want to give you guys another tip because this video was originally made about a year ago and a lot of new softwares came into play throughout that time. Now, what I would recommend for those that can afford to is REI Reply, also linked in the description, and I made a video about it before, actually. REI Reply is a texting platform that costs $49 a month and then 0.008 cents a text, which basically means for every 1,000 text message, you're paying $8. So it's really cost effective compared to the other softwares out there. It also has a free website builder, it has skip tracing, it has a dialer. It's insane the amount of stuff in that software, and it's for real estate. So it has everything that you need in terms of making this a real estate operation and having one system that does everything. Your cold calling, your skip tracing, your texting, has ringless voicemails, absolutely everything. But for those that can't afford it, the Reach app is the best alternative in terms of price. It is $5 a month. Instead of texting things manually, copying, pasting, and sending, it sends it automatically for you. And for the full tutorial for that one, it is linked in the description for you guys. I just didn't want this video taken down again, but everything is linked in the description. How to use REI Reply and how to use the Reach app.
Part 4. I don't think it was part 4, but part 4. Welcome back to the wholesaling series. Yesterday we sent a bunch of text messages and we're starting to get some replies back. The first one asked for 800,000, probably wasn't even worth 300, so that was a pass. Someone told us never to text them again, all capital, so they're just yelling at us. We got, how did you get my number? This is a good one. I always reply with, we use a service that offers us public property records that usually answers their question for them. We got no thank you, but I'll keep you in mind when I decide. That's good to hear. We got happy holidays, that's sweet, but remove me from your list. No problem. We got duck off and no stop texting me. So those were the rejections. We get used to it. But we got 2 really good ones. So the first one is a 4-unit. So he has a building, separate deeds. This one might be a jackpot. I just need to run a couple more numbers on it with him. The second one was a lady that started a rehab, but hasn't finished. She has the appraisal, so this might be a good one as well. All right, so the biggest question I got about this part of it was the SMS responses. So I don't think it was an actual part 4, but the biggest one was like, what happened to those 2? Because I don't continue to talk about it throughout the rest of the video. But during these text messages, the 4-unit is actually going to end up being a deal. I didn't record the process because everything was kind of done during text. And I just wasn't able to record everything for this deal. But this one we're going to be closing on actually sometime by the end of this week. So this series, I actually got 2 deals, but I'm only showing the one full deal. The second one with the lady with the appraisal, it ended up being a bust. The property needed a ton more work than she had plans for, and it's just not worth it. It's not worth the price. It's ended up being just a pass, but that was it. The actual part 4. Let's go for it. Welcome to the series of turning $15 into 10,000 wholesaling real estate. As you guys know, we got a list. We started texting that list. Today, we are going to be cold calling. Let's see how it goes. Hello, hi, is this Jessica?
Yes, it's me.
Hi, this is Souad with NJ Home Buyers. I'm just calling about your property on Poplar Street.
Okay.
I just wanted to know if you were interested in maybe selling that property.
No, I'm not.
No problem. Hello, is this Robert?
Yes.
Yeah.
How are you, Robert? This is Souad with NJ Home Buyers. I'm just calling about your property on Hart Street.
Yeah, that's not my property. That's my son's property.
Oh, okay. Do you know if your son is interested in selling that property by any chance?
I don't think he is. They've been refurbishing, doing a lot of work in the house, so I would guess not. But I can always try them, I guess.
I understand. Are you interested in selling any of your properties if you have?
Only if they would let me sell the entire apartment building that I live in.
Oh, I completely understand.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Robert. Hello, is this Edna?
Yes, it is.
Hi, how are you? I'm calling about your property on North Trenton Ave.
Yeah.
Just want to know if you were interested in selling that property.
Pretty much, yes.
Awesome. So we're a local real estate company here in Jersey. We're just looking to purchase a few more properties this month. I just wanted to know a little bit about the condition of the property.
Well, it needs some work.
It needs work?
Yeah. The inside is
pretty much up to date, but it also needs some work. It's a 2-family, 5 bedrooms, 3 baths. But it still needs work.
Is it occupied by any chance or vacant?
It's vacant.
It's vacant.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any idea of how much money you want to walk away with for this property?
You make me an offer.
You don't have a ballpark number? I just want to be able to know that we're both on the same, same.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm just accepting offers.
All right, you know what? That's perfect. Let me run the numbers on my end, and let me give you a call back later this afternoon.
Okay.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
So that was our lucky winner. That was the actual homeowner that we're going to be using for the entire process. That was the deal. And we'll continue on that. But one of the biggest questions I got for this one is for Robert. You know, he talked about his son having a property, and he said to reach him instead. Why didn't I reach out to the son? 2 things. First of all, I didn't ask for the son's phone number only because he said that the son was already rehabbing a property. Wholesaling only works if the property needs work. No one's going to sell it at a discount to you if they already did work to it, especially in this market where they can put it on the market and sell it in a week or 2. So unless the property needs work, I don't really wholesale it. You really can't wholesale a really good property because they can sell it on the market. They don't care if you're giving a cash offer or not. You know, houses are flying nowadays. So that's why I didn't go with that one. We're going to do part 5. Welcome to part 5 of the wholesaling series. So yesterday we cold called a homeowner that was very interested in selling their home. So today we are going to run the numbers together in order to make her an offer. So the first step is we need to get the ARV. So the ARV is the after repair value, which basically means when the house is all fixed up, how much is it going to sell for? And in order to get the ARV, we get the comps of the property. So the comps are properties that have sold in the area in the past 6 months to a year that have the same square footage, same bedroom and bathroom count, and we basically just get the average of all these numbers. Usually 3 or 4 properties. So this is our ARV, $214,750. And with this number, we now use the 70% rule. Why do we use the 70% rule? Because investors want to make a profit and they have holding costs, closing costs, realtor fees. So for that, they want to make 30% on an initial investment. So for the 70% rule, we're left with $150,325. Now we have to subtract the rehab. If you guys watched the last video, you'd know that this property that has 3,000 square feet would cost us about $75,000 in rehab. So we subtract the rehab price. Now we're left with $75,325. With that amount, we subtract our assignment fee. After the assignment fee of $20,000, I pick 20, you can pick 10, you can pick 15, whatever you want. We are left with $55,325. This is our maximum offer that we can give the homeowner in order for the investor to be happy, in order for the rehab to be completed, and in order for us to get our assignment fee. So for this part, I got a lot of questions about the offer price being a little too low. And in the sense, you're right, but I explained it in a different video right over here. So yesterday we did the wholesaling series and we calculated an offer together. And a couple of the comments were that offer is way too low, the numbers don't make sense, how is this going to work? And in a point, you're right. 70% rule is not always accurate. 70% rule for rental units does not work. You have cash flow and ROIs that take precedent over the 70% rule. But why do we use the 70% rule for fix and flips? Let's say you're the investor and I bring you a property and it's worth $200,000 at the end of the day. You're going to make 30% on it, but you're going to put $75,000 worth of work into it. It's going to take a 6 months to a year project. Would you want to go for it? Yes. Why? Because you already calculated 30%. You got 6% in realtor fees. You got 3% in holding costs. So right then and there, 10% is down the drain. Now you're left with 20%. $200,000 house, 20%. I make $40,000. I'll do it, right? You'll do the deal. But what if I offered it to you at 5% or 10%? You already know 10% is going down the drain. You wouldn't do it. There's no way you would do it. You're just going to break even or maybe make $10,000. And it'll be even more annoying when you find out that wholesaler made $20,000 on that property with doing absolutely nothing compared to you holding that property for 6 months, doing all this work into it and making like $10,000 or $15,000.
It doesn't work. It doesn't work that way. And you have to please your investors. You have to make sure that they can make a profit so that they can come back and work with you. And with wholesaling, the whole point of it is you have to get it at a discount. If you don't get it at a discount, it doesn't work. Rental units, a whole different story. But for these fix and flips, you have to get them at a cheap price, especially if they need rehab. You never know what can come up. And so for this, when we come to negotiating, the 70% rule is just the start. There's going to be negotiating, and it's going to hit your assignment fee a bit. It's going to hit the investor's profit a bit. But you have to remember, I don't care if I make $3,000 on this deal. All I did was sign 2 pieces of paper. I can make $1,000. Just has the deal to close. And so the whole point of this is to basically say you don't have to use the 70% rule. If you can pick a number out of air and find an end buyer that can go for it, you did your job. You're getting paid regardless, whether you use a formula or not. You found someone that is willing to pay more than what you got it for. And that's the whole point of wholesaling. But you have to realize this market is not going to be this high anymore. People are not going to be paying premiums for forever. You know, inventory is low, demand is high, but that's going to change eventually. And the point of it is to know and understand where these numbers come from, because it's going to help you not only with your investors, but when you're contacting that homeowner, when they tell you, where did you come up with that offer? Well, I have this, and the third that I have to do in order to finish this property for you. You have to understand your numbers, and the cheaper you can get it, the better. If you can't, just realize, would the investor say yes to this? Would the investor go for it? And if you can say yes to that, then you have a deal. Go for it. So that was basically just a little rant about understanding your numbers and wholesaling. Numbers will be your best friend, knowing what to offer, knowing why you offered it, knowing why an investor is going to say yes or no. But yeah, this video kind of explained all of it. So we're going to go up to the next one, which is part 6, making an offer. Welcome to part 6 of the wholesaling series. Today we are going to be calling and negotiating and giving our offer. We're going to be speaking with the daughter because she is the decision maker. So let's see how it goes. Hi, is this Kaylee?
Yes, it is.
Hi, I spoke with your mom the other day. She gave me your number in order to give her an offer out on the property on Trenton Ave.
Okay, yes.
You know, I know the property is draining your mom of money right now. I know she wanted to get it off her hands. So we ran the numbers on our end. Our offer is going to be cash as is. You don't have to do anything to the property. We'll be paying all the closing costs, all the title fees. The check we write is the check that you get to keep. So our offer on our budget's looking around $50,000 to $55,000.
Unfortunately, we're kind of looking for somewhere between take home 25. So your budget's kind of just a little bit low for us. We might have to end up just putting it on the market.
25. How much does your mom owe on the mortgage?
She owes 40 still.
Okay, so 40, and then she wants to take home 25?
Yeah, so we're looking for around 70.
Okay, I completely understand. In regards to putting it on the market, you can, of course. I'd love to share with you one of the properties a couple of streets down on Blaine Street. It's a similar home to the one that your mom has. I think it's a bit smaller, but they have it listed on the market for $45,000. In regards to a $70,000, I'm running the numbers. It's just a little too high with the amount of work that has to be put in and with all the fees that we have to come up with. Is there any way that you can meet us somewhere in the middle?
If you can do like 60 to 65, I definitely think I can convince my mom to sign the paper.
Okay, if we can do 60, can you have your mom sign the papers by today?
I definitely could, yes.
Alright, that's perfect. I'll have the contract sent to either your email or your mom's email, and you can sign it electronically.
Okay, that sounds very good. I'll be looking forward to that email.
Alright, perfect. Thank you so much.
Yeah, bye.
So I got 2 big questions for this one. It was basically, why would an investor pay you more than $50 if there's a property selling for $45? Again, every area, just because they're a couple streets away, they play a big part. She was near the boardwalk. Her house was bigger. And it just made a lot more sense with the comps that her property would get more than what the property on Blaine Street. Blaine Street was a full gut, like heavy tear down. Hers was also a full gut, but not as much compared to Blaine. That's why we were able to offer her more than the property on Blaine. The second big question is, how do I send her the contract? DocuSign. It has a free trial. You can send it directly to their email, and they can sign with a push of a button, and then it sends it back to you in a PDF format, so you're all set and ready. And I'll do a video, actually I'll show it here, of how to do a purchase and sales agreement and actually understanding that agreement. So let's go. This question is honestly key. You have to understand your contracts. So for that, we're going to go over the purchase and sales agreement together. This is what you send the homeowner once you agree on a price. You can send it to them by mail, you can send it electronically by DocuSign, email, whatever the case may be. So the first part is a date. Between sellers is just the seller's name. Buyer is you, so you would put your name or your LLC, the street address, block and lot number. You can get that from your county records website. Purchase price, the price that you guys agreed on. Closing date, usually around 30 days or 60 days. Title company, you put the address and the name of it. This is the most important part. So this is what makes wholesaling risk-free, this part of the contract. It's basically saying that you have a due diligence time frame of 30 days. You can put it at 60 days, but you have a due diligence time frame of 30 days to market the property. That way, if you don't find a buyer, guess what? Buyer issues timely notice of cancellation. A big question that I got about the series is your earnest money deposit. What is it? I see it on the contract. Do I have to give a deposit? What happens here? And I did a video explaining exactly what that is. So let's watch it. Today we're going to talk about the earnest money deposit. So this is a deposit that you put to make the contracts valid. You need a transfer of funds in order for the contracts to be valid. So the purchase and sales agreement is the one between you and the homeowner. And when you put the earnest money deposit, it is always going to be refundable. And it can be as little as $1, it can be $100, it can be $1,000. But the reason it's refundable is that if anything happens, it's returned to you. And then sometimes the homeowner will be like, well, where's my deposit? And you can always say it's held in escrow until closing. So you never give it to him up front. You just wait and send it to title. For the assignment agreement, so this is the contract between you and your end buyer, you make the deposit non-refundable. That makes sure that if they don't close, if they cancel on you, you get that deposit. And this can be as high as $1,000, $5,000, $10,000. So make sure you know the difference between refundable, non-refundable, and make sure the amounts are correct. That's the earnest money deposit. You do need it. You make it refundable on one side, you make it non-refundable on the other side. That way the end buyer has skin in the game. That way they have something to lose if they don't close the deal, and that way they're not wasting your time. And then when you're dealing with the homeowner, you make it refundable because if you don't find an end buyer, you want your money back. And again, it can be as little as $1. You can do $100. You can do $1,000, and never give it to the homeowner. If you cash app them, if you give it to them cash, there's nothing in writing that says they need to give it back to you. You got to give it to escrow, and you don't have to do this until you have both contracts and you send it to title company. But never give them actual cash or send them on Cash App. You always tell them that it's held in escrow with the title company until closing. The big question we got is rehab. I don't know how much it's going to cost to fix up the house. How do I make sure my numbers are correct? I have a video for that. I really like this question, especially since we're going to be making an offer on the property that we cold called yesterday. So for rehab prices, we're not contractors. I'm not a contractor. You're not a contractor. We don't know how much it's going to cost to rehab a house. But as wholesalers, we do have a certain rule of thumb when it comes to the number. It's sort of like an educated guess. It might be more, it might be less, but it helps us calculate our numbers in order to make a decent offer. So when we start, we do light, medium, rehab. Light meaning it just needs paint, maybe new flooring. Most of the properties that we're going to wholesale are going to need something done to it. So we usually go for that light section. Medium is your typical home. People live in it, but it needs a new kitchen, new bathroom, new flooring, new paint. It needs mostly everything done to it, but not too much. You know, the structure is good. There's no big issues. And then we have the full gut heavy rehab. That means everything needs to be done. And then the square footage is as follows. And this is the numbers that we use. Again, just an estimate. It can be more, it can be less, but it's what we use to calculate an offer. So now, we made an offer, we got a property under contract, we got it signed electronically, we calculated rehab, we did all the work in order to get the acquisition part of wholesaling done. Now, it's this position. Now we have to find an end buyer for the contract. How do we do this? Well, guess what? There's a video, part 7. Welcome to part 7 of the wholesaling series. The contract is officially signed, so now we have to do our marketing. We have to find a cash buyer to assign it to. So we have 30 days So first step is going to be building our cash buyer list, and we're going to need two things to do that. We're going to need Facebook and we're going to need MailChimp. So let's do it together. First up, we need to find our New Jersey real estate group. You can find your own state's group. We're going to see all of them. We're going to pick the one that has the most members. So this one has 10,000. This one has 3,000. This one has 21,000. All right, now we're in. What we're going to be searching for is Gmail. We're going to find a post that has a lot of emails. So this one has 61 comments. We're going to copy all of these emails. We're going to go to MailChimp. We're going to select the free plan. It allows us to have up to 2,000 contacts, and we can send 10,000 emails. So let's go. Set up your account. You're then going to audience, all contacts, and we're going to be importing our contacts. We're going to be copy and paste, and we're going to paste all of the emails that we just got. Continue to organize, continue to tag. We've added 10. So view imported contacts. Here are your emails. You can have up to 2,000 contacts, so make sure to utilize it. So now we go to campaigns and we create our campaign. And I'll show you guys how it looks like once we're done. So this is what a finished campaign would look like. We just started off with a picture. We put the address. We don't put the full address. We keep a little bit of it private. We put the asking price. We put a little information on the property, the ARV, the square footage. And we put a link to the photos, and we're set. And that's how we make our cash buyer list. And of course, you can keep adding emails as you go, as you grow. You always have to grow your database of cash buyers. The more you have, the better. One of the big questions I'm going to get is, what if the end buyer and the homeowner want to meet? It shouldn't be a problem, because the first thing that you should have never told the homeowner is that you're going to buy the property. It's always my partners and I. It's always going to be we. You always have to make it plural for this specific situation, because now when the end buyer wants to go see the property, you're going to call the homeowner up and you're going to say, my partner wants to go see the property. Can we schedule a time sometime next week, sometime tomorrow, whatever the case may be. But never lie to the homeowner. You're not buying the property. Don't tell her you're buying the property. Always incorporate. So we basically just went over how to find a cash buyer. I love this way just because it seems a little more professional. You're sending them direct emails. And everything's organized, and MailChimp shows you how many people have opened, how many people have clicked the link, and it tells you if you want to resend it to the people that didn't open. So I love the app. But you can also post it directly on Facebook Investors Group. You can post it on Connected Investor. You can post it on Bigger Pockets. These are websites that have a bunch of investors. But basically, if you got your numbers right, and the property seems like it's going to be profitable for an investor, finding the end buyer is going to be easy. Finding that investor is going to be the easiest part of this transaction. So make sure your numbers are right. One of the other big questions that I got is title companies. We didn't explain it before, but I do have a video about the title company and how to find an actual title company. So let's do that now. So today we're going to be talking about title companies. And title companies are essential in wholesaling because a good title company can make the transaction as smooth as possible. A bad title company can essentially ruin your deal. So it's always important to pick a right title company. And the best way to do this is the same way as we found our cash buyers. You're going to go to your state's Facebook investor group and you're going to search up, does anyone recommend any wholesale-friendly title companies? And people are going to start recommending places that they've used or they know that are assignment-friendly. If you can't find any this way, your best bet is to Google search title companies in your state and just give them a call. You're going to ask them if they are assignment-friendly. Have they worked with assignment contracts? As soon as they say yes, then you're set. That's the title company that you go with. If they say no, call the next one. Okay, so that was for the title company. Now, for the disposition part of wholesaling. So you got the property under contract. Everything is signed on that end. You have 30 days now to market the property. You're going to need two things. You're going to need an assignment agreement, which is basically the contract for the end buyer. And you're going to need a title company, which we just talked about, because you need to send both contracts. So in this video, we are going to be talking about the assignment agreement part. So on the last video, we went over the purchase and sales agreement. Today, we're going to go over the agreement to assign the contract. So this is the contract between you and your end buyer. So we start with the property address. The agreement is made by you, so you are the assignor, your name, your LLC, and the assignee is the end buyer, the cash buyer. Most important part, assignee shall pay the assigner a non-refundable assignment fee of the difference of the price between the original contract. So the purchase and sales agreement, we got it for $200,000. We're gonna get this for $210,000, and you're due that assignment fee of $10,000 to you. Second most important part is make sure that it's a non-refundable earnest money deposit. That means it can be $1,000, it can be $5,000, it can be $10,000. This means if they're not able to close on this property, they owe you that amount. The third important part here is that the assignment contract is non-assignable without your consent. That means that they can't wholesale it to someone else. So that was for the assignment agreement. We basically talked again about the deposit, making sure that it's non-refundable so that they have skin in the game. And two, make sure that the contract is non-assignable. That way they're not just another wholesaler that's just going to wholesale the deal out to somebody else. And you can find all of these contracts in my bio, in the description. They have every contract that you would need, as well as the termination contract in case you don't find an end buyer. That's how you would terminate it legally. But yeah, that was the assignment agreement. Now we're going to be talking about part 9, which isn't even up on TikTok because, well, we're still in the process of it. We found an end buyer. So I sent the emails. I ended up going and posting it for $90,000. Why did I post it so high? Just so I can have room to negotiate. If I posted it for 70 or 75, I would have gotten someone that lowballed me to like 50, and I have it under contract for 60, so I need a little bit more. I went with 90. We finally met in the middle for 75,000. He went to see the property. Thankfully, this one was vacant, so he could go there anytime. He ended up actually going through a back door that was open. The owner had kept it open for us. But when it's not open, like if it's locked, I'd get the key from the owner, and I use something like this, a lockbox, which is basically you put in a code and it opens up. I wish I remember the code. Oh, here it is. And then there's a key inside that you can reach. If you're doing this virtually, you can hire someone to actually set up a lockbox for you. You're just going to pay for the lockbox and then pay for them to set it up. It's like $20 and then $40 for the lockbox, so $60 if you're doing this virtually. But we got lucky with this one that the homeowner actually kept it open for us, which is perfect. Or sometimes if you're close by, if you're not doing this virtually and it's in your town, just go there. Meet the investor as well. Build a trust, build a rapport. You know, emails can only do so much. When you're face-to-face, you build a connection with them and you're able to give them more deals. But that was the case. We're waiting now for closing. Title has both contracts. We are set to close on the 4th of February. So I'll keep you guys updated for the February 4th deal. Basically just to go pick up a check, or I'm probably just going to end up doing a wire transfer. So it's going to be straight to my bank account. This was basically the entire wholesaling transaction in one video. We pulled a list. We called that list. We texted that list. We got someone that was interested in putting an offer on their home. We ran the numbers. We gave them an offer. We signed a contract. We then went to find an end buyer to assign that contract to that's willing to pay us a little bit more than what we got it for. So in a sense, you know, we try to simplify it as much as possible. I try to keep things as user-friendly so you guys can understand, but it is a numbers game. It is also a practice game. You have to do the work. You have to call every single day. Like for this one as well, like it was the 200th call. Like, you know, the list was 100, but every address had like 5 phone numbers. So in total, we had 500 phone numbers, and it wasn't until like the 200th call that we actually had someone to say yes. So sometimes it'll be 1,000 calls to get that first yes. So it's a numbers game, and the more you do, the better you get at it. And I hope you guys learned something. I'll see you guys in the next video.